everybody and welcome to the NLC. We are going to start the final day of the regular season today, so let's get some lovely people in here that are going to be joining me today and bring you guys through all of the action.
Hey, how's it going?
We are going.
That was honestly the most awkward start. Everyone just like sat there like we don't know what to do. Everyone just sat in complete silence.
That's on me to be fair. That's on me to be fair, right? But Foxy, you're back again as the special guest of the week. This time around, you were also here yesterday. And what are you looking forward to today? Because when looking at the grand scheme of things, we only have one playoff spot up for grabs, but a lot of other things also in flux.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here for 2 days in a row for starters. I've never done that before, so that's cool. And yeah, I mean it's always nice when it's the last day of the split, seeing who can pick up that last spot. We've got Nord and Domino really battling it out, and yeah, I'm just curious to see who's going to be able to pick up the spot, because I think both these teams are in upswings. They've been looking good recently, so it all comes down to the last day of the split. Very cliche, but it's how we like it.
Yeah, with that, let's look at the standings here, because visual guidance is always good. That's what I've learned here. So Aragon, you're back again as well. Yes, though it's the exact same team for 2 days in a row. That's kind of new to a certain extent here, but at the top we also have the same team that we've had for most of the season in Verdant.
Aragon's muted.
Okay, I am no longer muted. Everything is fixed. No, I'm really excited to see today, because our teams, right, despite like there being a big differential in like wins, I don't think there's a massive gap between any team in the league, right? And that might be a hot take, but I think our league is extremely close-knit, and especially when it comes to our playoffs contenders in Nord and Domino, I think we could be in for some banger games today with some
totally agree.
Super close results, yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think obviously Verdant are guaranteed first after the result of the Natives game, because Verdant have the 2-0 head-to-head, so even if Verdant lose their game today, because of the head-to-head, they will be first, so they at least have that advantage going in towards the playoffs. When I do look at the teams, I think you're so right though. I really do. I feel like the only team who stand out as like not being really close to any other teams is Ruddy, and I can't figure out exactly where to place them. They're third overall in the standings right now. I think they're very capable of taking out Verdant and Natives, but I'm also very confident that both of those teams could also take them out. So they're the team I probably find hardest to place and make a prediction for where they're going to be at the end of the split. But we still have so many teams tied for that relegation spot. Veneer, Fourth Wall, Unique, all tied up with one another. And the big match is obviously going to be between these Domino and Nord, because these two teams are going to be playing for that final spot in the playoffs. And let's be real, Domino really challenged Verdant. I actually don't think Verdant or Natives looked all that good yesterday. Natives obviously lost to Unique, which was massive, but Verdant, they got really heavily pushed by Domino and genuinely looked not like a top-tier team at the moment. So I think Verdant have to really prove themselves in this first game versus Fourth Wall that they are the best team in the league, because, yeah, the numbers make them the best team in the league, but from the quality of game I saw from them yesterday, I'm not sure. I feel it's very open-ended on who can take first.
Yeah, looking at the rest of the games today, we have Unique Esports taking on Veneer. Then we have Domino Esports versus Nord Esports, and that's the real big one, right? Because if Domino beats Nord, well, then they're going to have to play a tiebreaker on Friday, most likely for the final playoff spot. And then we have Ruddy versus Natives to close out the day. So a bit of a preemptive phase of looking at what we're going to be seeing in the playoffs once we get to see those two teams battle against each other there. So, Aragon, I want to hear this as well. Like, what do you think about the situation that we have between Nord and Domino? Because that is like the real big thing to look out for today.
Yeah, no, it's pretty challenging, right? I think Domino have shown that they've improved a lot since last week in yesterday's game. However, I am worried that they are crutching on Clover's LeBlanc, right? Multiple times now they've had LeBlanc, and Clover's put on an absolute 1v9 show. If that gets taken away, which I imagine Nord will, right? They have a lot of good prep and a lot of good coaches, and for example, Nicholas Perez and Malo. I wouldn't be surprised to see that taken away, and then Domino potentially look shakier. Whereas Nord, you know, yesterday they kind of looked a bit weird. I believe we were all confused because the game was so slow, despite the scoreline being like 10-1 to Nord at one point. So maybe a bit nervous, right, towards the end of the split, securing playoffs. Yeah, I think it's a banger. I think it can go either way.
Yeah, that's one of the things that was mentioned as well in the interview, right, with Nico, where he said, like, he just didn't really understand like where the players were. Like he spot that indecision, just forgot to farm for like
Yeah.
3 minutes or something. Fuck, like, you can't forget to farm at this level for 3 minutes.
No, it was. I remember calling that out during the game as well. Like he was playing Rel, so it was like, he doesn't really need to go out and get his gold and do things. But I was, yeah, he was a little bit underleveled. He was, yeah, it did just seem strange. I mean, they're kind of overforcing things, overthinking things a little bit, which was uncharacteristic of Verdant. You know, they've got to the first spot, the secured first spot in the regular season for a reason. And a little bit of nerves or shakiness here, which is why I actually think, despite our first game of the day, you know, between Fourth Wall and Verdant not meaning anything for the standings, I do still think it's quite important for Verdant, because if you've just had that shaky game yesterday, which was shaky, very shaky, and you play against Fourth Wall here today and also have a shaky game, that's not good form coming into playoffs. That's quite scary. Like I would be quite worried. So I think they need that kind of bounce back game here, to just get that confidence back.
Keep in mind, actually, the 4-4 game actually does mean something, because we have a 3-way tie at the bottom, which means we are still tied for relegation spots. 2 teams have to go into that relegation spot. So if Fourth Wall actually beat Verdant here, that gives them at least a step forward above those other teams, and pending the other games, we could still find ourselves in a tie or not, but that could potentially break the tie and get Fourth Wall just clear of that relegation spot, because it is still super tight. I need to check the heads-to-heads. I didn't do that ahead of the show because I'm an idiot. But we still have 3 teams right now on the scores tied. I'm not sure what the head-to-heads look like. I will have a look in the break on that one and figure out if there is a world in which case maybe one of these teams is already guaranteed relegations or not. But I feel Verdant, you know, they need to prove to us that they're a good team, but Fourth Wall, they have to win this game. This could be the difference maker between them having to play relegations and not.
Yeah, speaking of a must-win game, we have Aragon versus Hipbrain in the predictions. So that's the big one.
Hey!
Yeah, so these predictions are after your own heart, but to be honest, right, there's a chance here if like everything just goes the opposite way of what we're expecting today, that you could catch up to Aragon, Hipbrain. That's something.
Yeah. Also, I'm not gonna lie. After the game we had from Natives yesterday, I actually think I might be getting that one. I'm pretty sure already do win this game. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, it's realistic, right? I think there's a world with our league as close knit as it is. I do think there's a world where all your predictions do come true. I think the one that's least likely to happen is probably the Verdant Fourth Wall one. But the rest of them, I definitely see it getting close.
Yeah, I don't know, Fox. Again, you're not on this graphic because you're the special guest, so we haven't gotten your predictions. But do you agree with like? Where would you have said Ruddy versus Natives, for example? Are you going Ruddy there, or are you going Natives?
I think that's like a mega close one, though. I still have some faith in Natives. I think I'd still put my money on them. But either way, I'm just cackling at the idea that if Jake gets all of his, because Aragon and Jake have completely polarized their votes, right? If all of them go Jake's way, none of them are going Aragon's way, and they tie. And Jake has been trying to fluff all of his predictions this split. Like that would be gold. That would be gold. So that's the timeline that I'm manifesting.
Next split, I'm going lower. I'm actually not satisfied with how low I went this split. I think there was a moment. It was kind of like week 1. I tried, and then realized it wasn't going great. And I committed a few too many points early. And then like a bunch of teams just kind of inted me by playing really well. Like there was some games where like I was the only believer and they actually pulled the win off, and it's like, oh man, I was super wrong there. I think next split I can go lower. I'm gonna aim for like a 20%. I want a 20% next.
That would be an 80% correct guess rate as well. Like, that's pretty good, no?
Yeah. That's the 900 upload and download for Hipbrain right there, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Same as yesterday.
Yep.
Classic. But no, the predictions are, they just haven't been at the split, have they? Mr. Witter. I don't know how you've done it, Witter, but you've just come in. I'm just prior experience in the league, and you've got.
I did do LCD for like 2 years, right? As a color caster /
2 weeks, did you say?
2 years. 2 years.
Oh, 2 years. I was gonna say. I was like, 2 weeks.
I did 2 whole weeks of it, right? And I don't know. Some of them got lucky. Some of them were like actual good shouts, right? I had one where I was the only believer in Ruddy or something that won. That was pretty good, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I could just say it's easy, but that's kind of weird because now we get into the situation where like we go into playoffs, right? Where that's kind of gonna be a bit of a different beast.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the playoffs are looking so spicy right now, especially since Natives lost. And Verdant, I think, who did they play against yesterday? Verdant played against, it was Domino.
Domino,
and
yeah.
they were getting run around the map, if I remember right, versus Clover, right, on the LeBlanc.
Yeah.
And they only won because of some Baron dance, where they managed to pick, I think it was Clover in the side, and then get the Baron. It feels like Verdant just do this every single game. Go ahead.
Important announcement here, because we have Hipbrain back, and that means we go to picks and bans.
Oh, brilliant.
I don't know what happened there, but I'm back. Hello and welcome. Let's get ourselves into these picks and
Look
bans
at these
and see.
bands. You got missing file icon for all of the champions.
Okay, well, we're not going into picks and bans.
Okay. We can do predictions on what those bands are.
Rel,
Rumble, Kaiser,
Yeah.
Trist. Oh no, but we can't just say all the OPs because they'll be trying to trade, right?
LeBlanc.
I think LeBlanc's got to be out there, maybe. If
Yeah,
you see...
I feel like he's in there.
Versus Fourth Wall.
Yeah,
potentially
actually,
ban
that's true.
Lissandra.
That's true, actually.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nico
Yeah.
as well, maybe. I don't know if Nico's dead
Yeah.
as a champion, but
Yeah, I think Rumble versus Nilly could be a ban as well. He pulled it out yesterday.
Okay,
Remember
we
the
got
Rumble?
We got two right, by the way, on our bans. I've just had a picture of them. It's Tristana and LeBlanc were the two bans.
Okay.
First pick's the
Three
Rel.
right.
Okay, so I'm getting
Lissandra as
screenshots. Lissandra was a ban there. Yep, so we did get that one right in the end. Apologies for the jankiness. Unfortunately, as you can see, live shows online do happen in this way. Me disconnecting just before Champ Select and then coming back to this. So I'm getting live updates of the bands, of the picks and bans. So yeah, it was a Rel first pick for the side of Fourth Wall.
Yeah.
Verdant got themselves an answer of a Rumble Kaiser. This is so janky, man. Our producer just told me it's so scuffed. So we had a Rumble Kaiser as the first picks there for Verdant. So what are we making of that?
Yeah, it looks pretty decent. I think there's some power picks left open too for the side of Fourth Wall if they want to take it away. I think Renekton's left to match. So if you guys can picture this, it's B1 Rel into R1 to Rumble Kaiser. Followed by a B2 Zaya and probably Rakan. You usually pick these up as a pairing, and then you also have a Rakan Rel combination for a great team fight, which is something that Fourth Wall like. And then what do they match on B3? I imagine something like a Nautilus could be good here. That's pretty staple when the enemy team have these kinds of picks.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to see a team finally take it to Rumble and actually pick one of these counter picks that we've been discussing. You know, like some of these kind of bruisers, like run at you style champions. Like I don't know if Fire necessarily is the guy to do that, but it's something I want to see. You know, I just think the Rumble's been let through too much, and then you just have
There
a
it is.
mega
Brilliant.
losing topside. It wasn't the Rakan, the Zaya Rakan. It's Jace instead in that mid side. So
Of course, got so much play yesterday as well.
yeah, we saw Jace so much yesterday too. He's really strong. I think he's really good into the meta mid lanes. This Trundle is definitely interesting though. It's like a blind Trundle just chilling here. I think it's really quite strong into Rel, to be honest, with like the Rel steals resistances, and then she steal them or just shred them. I can't remember, but either way, you just
Steal them.
You do steal them, yeah. So then you steal them back if you're get some Robin Hood gameplay from Trundle here. So yeah, I think that's an interesting pick into Rel specifically.
Yeah, pretty interesting. It looks like Nautilus prior is pretty high for the side of Verdant. They're banning out LeBron. It's typically the answer, right? I can imagine it's also being picked into the Rel pretty commonly. I think that Jace was actually a denial pick because typically when you pick Rumble and you go AP Kaiser down in bot side, you want an AD mid laner, and Tristana's already banned, so you take the Jace away to deny that. I think that's the whole idea of it. There's the Nautilus ban, like we alluded to, because of that Braum indicating that. Now, what do Fourth will have as an answer into that Trundle? We'll have to see. Leona comes in as a replacement for that Nautilus. You want to pair hard CC with this Kaiser, so that also makes sense.
Alrighty, well, see what they're going to make as their final pick here. Looking towards that mid lane. I guess Rumble is flexible technically, but been a while since I've seen the old Rumble mid. Obviously, they are still blind picking regardless for either mid or that top, depending on what... Well, they're blind picking regardless here, so they don't know exactly what top and mid are going to look like on the side of four. What am I talking about? It's Fourth Wall blind picking. I'm an idiot. They are taking their time to think about it, though, as my brain malfunctions, and they lock in the Rek'Sai, still looking towards a potential top laner.
Do you think there's a world where this Rek'Sai goes top lane? Did you? That's kind of like been a thing recently. I know that sounds extreme, but You know, like they even nerfed
It has
Rek'Sai
been, yeah.
as a laner.
I don't think so though. I think it's probably the pocket pick they pulled out to counter this Trundle. I actually, you know what? You're considering how little Trundle's been picked, and the same goes for Rek'Sai. I'm not afraid to admit I don't really know how this matchup goes. You have any idea, Foxy?
Trundle to oh my goodness.
That's
This
so
is
nice.
spicy.
I
So it's
love that Silas.
Mid Kai'Sa.
Ooh, okay.
Oh.
I mean, okay. So we've seen this in the LEC. Right, they go static, they build a standard AP build, and they just farm 12 CS a minute. I think we saw this from Team Heretics with, I think it's Vetio, and he did really well. Okay, so the thing is, globally, Kai'Sa mid isn't doing as well as Kai'Sa bot lane, but we've seen it do well. So, yeah, I really like this.
Ooh.
The Silas pick as well, to take an
Going
Ashe or
mid, it
Leona.
looks like.
Yeah, to match it. I
Yeah.
think that was extremely spicy.
It's not just the Asher and the Leona was really high value here.
Rumble.
Verdant played the combo with the Rumble Rel. This
Yeah.
time they get the Rumble Rel without having the Rumble. This Silas is actually a really nice little pickup for that because you're going to lay that carpet down on top of the Magnet Storm. I love what Fourth Wall have put together here. They can keep everyone down. Ragnar can get the feathers on the ground and basically CC whoever is caught in that big combo. That's a very, very solid team coming in from Fourth Wall. On the other side, I do like what Verdant have put together here. I'm curious to see what you guys think, because I think if we had the nameplates on, I think regardless, we're going to be like, well, Verdant are just the better team here. But nameplates off, Aragon, what are your thoughts?
I like the range that Verdant have with the AP Kai'Sa and the Ashe. I think that's extremely good into the Xayah, right, in isolation. But then they also can match range with that Jace. Goodbye, Foxy. And we just see the Void now.
Oh, sorry.
But
Hello,
the
I'm
Rek'Sai,
back.
hello, mate. Rek'Sai
Sorry.
indicates that, Fourth Wall have put themselves on a bit of a timer. Okay, they have to get something done with this Rek'Sai, play down to the bot side, potentially, and let Jace scale up in the top side. That's what I'm expecting to see from Fourth Wall.
I think you've just got insane aggression with Rek'Sai always. Like, Rek'Sai as a champion is kind of like the AD assassin version of Elise. You know, just you got to get things going early as such insane ganks from this champ, and as the game goes on, you really use your utility unless you're going for like those one shots on the backline onto a squishy, which I think is a lot harder to do in competitive play than in solo queue. Obviously, when there's like more vision knocking about and people are a bit more. Playing with their brains slightly more switched on than in solo queue.
Yeah.
I mean, you still have some good targets, with Ashe and with Kai'Sa, some relatively low mobility champions, and I love that they've thrown Jace into topside. I think Silas as well has so many good options for to steal ultis from. I honestly really like Fourth Wall's draft. I can see this team going the way, but a lot of it will hinge on the Rek'Sai performance early and whether it can get things going.
Yeah. I do think... Sorry, go ahead, Dipper.
I was just going to say, I think I'd be a little bit more confident in Verdant if we didn't have that game versus Domino yesterday, where Domino really, really challenged Verdant. That did not look like a one-sided affair. We expected that game to be very, very, just a very intense game, a very just kind of Verdant-favored game, but they kind of fell apart. They didn't really have the greatest performance, and yes, they did win that game, but Domino made them fight tooth and nail for it. And Verdant won with a team which we even said was just way easier to execute, had a lot of strength in its initial comp. I think this time they're playing with a team that don't have as much, like, kind of just front-loaded power. That was a ghost from Gooby.
Huh. That is
The
an
old
interesting
ghost
thought.
ward.
I mean, I suppose the idea is the second, like an auto connect, you can run him down till the end of time, right, with those auto attacks. But yeah, maybe a tad optimistic. The big concern I have is how well they play around Jin Race this game, because they have a lot of potential to gank mid. It's just a squishy AD carry, right? They can drag up Rel with that potential E engage, as well as they have Silas melee set up with that Rek'Sai knockup as well. They can also play the bot side if there's a bunch of trading to force some summoners. So lots of action coming down in the early game. You see Verdant sweeping out this river. Really curious what they see, what they do.
They really want to do something here, don't they? They really want to leverage that level 1. It's quite a strong level 1 with Leona stun and that sunlight passive as well. That perma slow, as you mentioned too, from Ashe, so really hard to get away from that. Did Fourth Wall? I don't think they know.
I don't think you
I
saw
don't
that.
think they know.
I think they know now. I think, and it's gone. I think Taxus Might did that, right? It popped up over his head. That's nothing to use. I mean, Rek'Sai, Silas,
Wait,
level
what's
1.
he doing? Yu's coming back bot though.
Going down to his croak.
He's got smite. Taxa doesn't, I guess.
Ah, he's trying to
Maybe
contest his red buff
Taxes
again.
oh my, this is such a flippy play right here. Like literally the whole early game is gonna depend on this one play right now.
Yeah, Taxa can't do this.
It's good
He
if they can get Taxa out though. This is good. This is good.
Yeah, looks like Chimera's going to look for him. Ragnar putting some feathers down. Wendell trying to contest in as well. Smite's there. Ute gets it. They try to jump in onto Wendell. Flash gets burnt. So Ute looks for that knock-up. Does land it onto Wendell. Taxa gets that AD still with the chomp on. And it looks like it's going to be the end of the play. Ute able to recover what was a pretty rough start as Nita now rotating over will get spotted out by those by that vision from the Rek'Sai. And a very peculiar start to this game. A very, very peculiar start to this game.
It's all good though. Like Ute's game was looking really dire right there. I was a bit skeptical when he went back to the bot side to the red buff to contest the red level 1 versus level 2, but because Ragnar and Chimera did come up there, he did make that play possible, and all's well that ends well. In fact, I'd say that may even be advantage Rek'Sai as far as the tempo goes. Tax is going to take a little bit of time here as Ute now at only level 2 doesn't really want to make a play happen, but once this role gets level 2 as well, maybe they can just go for the engage.
Yeah, no wards down for the side of Verdant. Gooby might get caught out here. He has no ghost, so Chimera is flashing in.
What a stun. They're looking for the knock-up. That is going to be the end of Gooby. First blood to Ragnar. Wendell trying to get away. Ute goes underground. Flashes forward. Finds another knock-up. Wendell being slowed down. Chimera gets back on the horse. Misses the Q. Wendell just about gets away from that one. Ute pays his bot lane back for that roam.
He was in their debt and he made sure to repay it off. It's surprising when you see a Rek'Sai level 2 make a play. It's one of those champions that really wants to get level 3. And I feel like maybe Verdant, having known that, played a little bit disrespectfully to Ute's positioning there, just assuming, it's a Rek'Sai, he won't come down, we'll be fine. They were not fine, and they do lose that first blood. Gooby gonna pay the price for that one, but Taxa knows now. Taxa knows that Ute, he's behind the pace for that gank. He's going to try and punish this one. Having fire recalling as well. A lot of pressure in the top side from Nili. Opens up this play. I don't think Ute knows this is going on either. So it should just be a free blue buff right now for Taxa and Verdant.
Oh, Nita, no, not like this. It doesn't matter if his jungle's being stolen because he is doing everything, everywhere. Nita gets caught out by the Q there. The Prey Seeker's on. Chimera just needs to get over the wall. It looks like Chimera to get away, but no. Fi coming in. Can he find that empowered Q? Can he find the follow-up? Nita gets out.
Oh my
no!
goodness,
Faye
what?
jumps over the wall, gets himself caught out and goes down a little bit too eager.
So desperate to do something. And crucially, after all that's said and done, Fi has no TP to get back to lane now, right? So he already had his TP popped and bought a tier with it. Now he's got to waddle back to lane, and that wave is pushing out, right? So it's a really undesirable wave state. And at the end, all said and done, you might look for another play here.
Yeah, he's going to be looking for it.
He definitely doesn't win this versus Taxa with Nita coming in as well.
No, Nita's got the damage on.
Ute
Ute fails the pillar. It's beautiful. Jirius, can he save his jungler? Ute doesn't need it. He just limps out. Oh my word, this game is so stressful, man.
What is going on? I don't get it. I don't get any of this. Like, you really should be taking a 1v1 fight versus a Trundle. Like, I mean, Rek'Sai is very strong in the 1v1, but Trundle is Trundle, right? Like, there's no way you can win that. God, he almost paid for it. It's a really nice pillar to knock the Rek'Sai out of the tunnel, but just able to walk away a little bit there. It was very, very close. This is a ridiculous early game, but the fact that Ute is this far behind, 30 CS to 12, 3 camps to like almost 10, it's a bit of a diffy and not good for Rek'Sai, who wants to have this early game going in our favor.
Take a look at how miserable top lane is. You can see Fi, he cannot walk up. He has no flash, and he's frozen on. He's just farming with EQs at max range. It's actually miserable, because he knows Tax's topside without respawning Krug Camp. And look at him. All he can do is sit in a bush and hug walls, whilst his team hopefully eventually comes topside to bail him out. But that freeze is not going away anytime soon. You see Tax is actually moving up here to punish. And Fi might actually get caught. He has no flash.
Yeah, he's in danger. Gets the speed up. Tries to jump away to safety. The pillar is beautifully placed. Gets the Q off. Has that carpet laid down. And Fi gets the knock back. But Nili will toast him and finish him up. Lovely little pick. Jimrius and Ute get caught out, though, on that rotate towards the top bot side.
It's just... So I think part of the reason why Taxes picked this Trundle was because he assumed that Jimray was playing Jace in the mid lane. Oh, hold that thought.
Nita's got no flash. He ults out, but he's done.
All right. Well, that's the power of the early ganks here for Rek'Sai. Wendell's in trouble too.
Oh no, down he goes. This means Ute should be able to pick this one up. Does have Taxa coming in, so Chimera and Ragnar need to hover about. And Taxa realizes he doesn't have the pressure, he doesn't have the power. Honestly, Ute has fallen behind, but he has done stuff on the map to make this a recoverable situation for himself. He is equal in levels to Taxa, as Gooby is just about avoiding.
That's the ghost, yeah.
Crucially, Gooby's hit level 6 here as the Dragon Spawn. Ute's probably not going to be able to secure any of this as Gooby moves up. He's got Arrow. This could be really bad for Ute.
Yeah, Ute flashes over, needs to try and get himself under the tunnel. They do get a bit of damage off, tries to find that knock-up, unable to connect it onto Taxa. Taxa's low HP. The Dragon is a hero! It finds the kill! Meanwhile, Ute desperately getting out, not going to go down. Chimera finds the kill onto Gooble. Wendell almost getting Ragnar here, going to be able to finish him up. The supports are OP, and down they go.
Can Chimera execute? That's the question. Verdant have no idea where he is, and I think by the time he reveals himself on the map, it will be too late. It's going to be the execute for Chimera there. So all in all, a relatively even exchange. But I mean, what is going on this game? Oh, goodness me.
Yeah. Both junglers quite far behind at this point. Usually junglers hit level 6 about 7 to 8 minutes. And I believe at 7 minutes, Ute was level 4. So seeing a lot of skirmishing and action and a lot of people being set far behind. But crucially, Fourth will actually have gold on a decent amount of members, right? Like, so look at Ragnar, right? It's on him now with his 2-1 kill lead to actually potentially carry as Gooby has been set behind.
Absolutely, but they're looking for a potential dive here. Chimera does have the lockdown. The feathers are there. He's
stunned.
desperately Ragnar trying to get some damage in. Pulls the feathers back. Roots 2 underneath the tower. Taxa going low. Featherstorm comes out. Duke finds the kill. A 2-for-1 as Fourth Wall put off the dive.
This is the power of Trundle ulti versus Rel, any kind of tanky champion. You slap down that ultimate, subjugates the tankiness out of the support, and then just pretty easy to go down. I just think it was a bit aggressive, especially if you don't know where the enemy jungler is. Like, they had to know where you was to go for that play, and kind of sloppy there actually from Verdant to give a little bit too much away in that situation. Of course, however, on the other hand,
don't look top.
any kind of any kind of pressure you put on bot side, even if it doesn't go too well for you, you're giving space to Nile to just do whatever he wants, and I mean, just look at him. It's illegal.
Yeah, but Wendell, though, getting run down, pulled in, finished up nice and simple. Nothing Wendell can do about that one, as Ute finds himself the kill. Top is miserable, but it's one of those games where it's going well elsewhere, so it's not the end of the world. And 4 kills on Ute, he can come topside and maybe help solve the pressure problem in the top side of the map.
Yeah, I don't know how many plates top tower's on, so it's on 4, right? So he's under no immediate threat of being Gove. He actually decided to recall. Not sure what his HP situation was before that. Still, Jace is one of those champions where, you know, even if you fall behind, people call those Jace tags. Okay, you can be 0-10-0, but if you hit your 3-item spike, you will still be relevant, because Jace he's all about gold, and eventually he'll get right? Still, though, this is absolutely brutal. They can zone off a 5 from even getting to the lane right now and just make him watch that CS die in his face. And you see Nili, knowing he's in this bush, just walks up to him and just denies any chance of him getting back to lane.
What? He's TPing back to his tower.
Oh, that's a banger.
I love that.
That's a bit questionable because he might die on the next wave if they decide to go for that.
That's so funny. That is actually so tragic there for Fi. It's just,
that cracked me
if
up.
he had died there, honestly, like, I don't know, man. We would have seen a pause and Fourth will be like, one of our players is DC'd. We don't know where he's gone. That's just, But, I mean, hey, desperate times, man. Desperate times, desperate measures. He's down 50 CS here. Almost 2,000 gold.
Yeah.
Which is especially significant when you consider the fact that Fi's only on 2,000 gold.
Strange interaction that was. Still, props to Nili, right? Because we're saying how miserable Fi is, but props to Nili actually snowballing is. As the Rift Herald comes down mid, now who's going to come answer? You see Chimera running up that river, and mid lane's still in base. This could be really chunked. Trundle really hits these towers hard.
Yeah, it's going to be a bunch of plays. The Ash Arrow comes in. The Solar Flare comes down as well. That is going to be the end of one. Chimera jumps in with the Magnus Storm, but he has no team with him. Jimry is desperately trying to get in. Gets the red carpet laid down onto multiple members, cooking them underneath. The shutdown for Jimrius. The tower still stands. And Fourth Wall make a bad situation slightly better for themselves.
More trading coming down in mid-side, but that is 4 plates going over the side of Verdant. Fortunately, the gold was spread out, but still, that's an accelerated team. And Nili, using all that pressure he's been given topside, come down and guarantee this crash on the Rift Herald. Still, traded up by 5-5, he's got to be sitting pretty right there. He managed to finally get something, and he's saying to himself, you know, it's playable, guys. I can actually play the game. Wonder if he's completed his item here. It doesn't look like he's just going to get 4 fields and complete his boots. Still, though, 3 minutes until Dragon. Let's see how both teams shape up here and move towards that objective. I imagine Chimera, the silent hero, honestly, finding these engages mid, they might look for more picks towards mid side and then set up that vision.
How good was that arrow, though, from Gooby? All the way from bot lane. He hadn't even left. Just predicted where Ute was going to be underneath that tower. And pretty easy kill for his team. Here comes the TP. Vendal's caught.
Yeah, Ute's in a bit of danger. Wendell loses a lot of HP as they get the solar flare down, jumping forwards, finished up. No, the pillars are going to be there. Lovely little finalize there with the chain lash from Jimrius.
Just a tombstone for Vendel in that situation. Unfortunately, not actually going to be able to save him out at all. Great TP right there, and that enables now, most importantly, not just for that kill, but to get some pressure on the bot side. And Gooby could be in trouble.
Could be in a lot of danger, actually. It's Ute who's getting turned around too. The feathers don't get pulled back in the right position, and down they go. They do find a bit of a lockup, but there's a fight happening on multiple fronts. Magnet Storm comes down. Ragnar getting a bunch of damage onto Nita. Feather Storm forwards, pulls back the feathers. The flash forward to finish the kills. Jimrius comes in. Kingslayer to keep his health up, but it's not going to keep him alive for long. Ragnar being run down on multiple fronts, pulls the feathers back. It's about to come back, locking Taxer in place and taking half of his HP. They've got the blast cone. They've got the escape routes. It's the slow. It's big, but another lockdown. Another pullback of the feathers, and Fourth Wall limping out of bot lane.
And that whole fight was started because Ute tried to flash knock up Gooby, but Gooby, the presence of mind to fire that stun knowing that was coming and he could just walk away from the knockup. It just left Ute dead in the water. He had no flash, no E to get away. And then the whole fight devolves into Ragnar and Chimera just abusing the strength of Rel in that moves, trying to get away. Jinrace crucially misses those chains to not secure the kill onto Gooby. And in the end, it's heads up Verdant, but they manage to escape limping.
1 minute now till Dragon spawns. I think this will be the next big fight of the game you would have to feel when these two teams just want to fight endlessly. We're 14 minutes into the game and we have 20 kills. It seems to be kind of sloppy though. It's not just one of those games where both teams have, you know, kind of butting heads and clashing out with their calculated plays. It feels like the team that makes the proactive play is the team that kind of doesn't come out on top. A little bit of sloppiness from the execution here from both these teams. Is Ragnar now?
Oh, Ragnar's in a lot of danger. Hasn't got that Feather Storm. They're going to bring in everything on him, but down he goes. And that'll also be the end of Chimera. As Gooby taking a lot of damage from the support, but that's going to be the end of that. Punishing Ragnar, cleanseless, ultless, and a double kill gifted over to Gooby. Nita may find himself getting jumped onto, though. Look at the flank coming in. Actually, they've also got Nili in the area. As Jimrius jumps forward, gets some damage down onto Nita, does lock him in place, steals away the Rumble R. Rumble R comes out from Nili, though, as Ute tries to finish up a kill onto Nita. Nita's saved by the pillar. No, the old forwards, the shield coming in huge. Fourth Wall losing out massively.
Nerves of steel coming in from Nita there with that ultimate, holding it for that execute damage from the Rek'Sai, making sure he does not get executed there. And Nili, honestly, that 50 CS lead and that prayer from topside managing to come down and with that epic flank, just like you are highlighting. And this all stems from the bot play, which transitioned to a mid play, initially capitalizing on the cleanseless Ragnar, disrespecting the potential chain CC.
I think that is the word for it, is disrespect. Like, I don't know what Ragnar was doing in that position. If you don't have Featherstorm, you don't have Cleanse, you're like in Gooby's face. What do you expect? He's obviously going to ult you and bring you down. And yeah, that was a bit of a question mark for me. And I was also saying that the team that initiates the play is the one that doesn't win. Well, that whole play in mid lane, that was Jimrius. He wanted to take that one, you as well. And they're the ones who get punished for it too. It's just sloppy all around, to be honest. And so far, it has been Verdant coming out ahead at this stage of the game. About a 3,000 gold lead. You have to imagine a lot of that is in the top side. So it doesn't necessarily tell the story of the entire team's performance. So as long as, you know, Fourth Wall don't play too much with Jace and can avoid Nile specifically, you know, this is still a pretty even game, all things considered.
Absolutely.
Crucially, the gold is gone onto Gooby now. He's no longer 0-2-0. He actually managed to pick up 3 kills in his past skirmishes, and somehow has a bounty, right? He's probably going to transition this over now to the Rift Herald. Then, are we going to see a contest from the side of Fourth Wall? Are they confident? Do they have summoner spells? And it doesn't look like it, right? You're a flashless Rek'Sai. Why are you even posturing, right? Maybe you can try and pick off Rumble instead if you decide to commit to the Crossfire. But it does look like they're going to fight.
Yeah, Chimera actually gets himself onto Gooby. The Magnet Storm is going to get some damage down. Chimera's in low HP, though. Solar Flare lands onto Ragnar. Teleport coming in. Featherstorm goes down. Taxa gets caught. They're going to throw everything onto him, and he can't survive for long as Jimrius finds the kill. Fi comes in, gets himself a Q onto the 2 of Verdant, who are heavily chunked out. But Fourth Wall, they may just lose this mid tower for this unless Fi can find it. They see them there. They're going to jump forward. Wendell just about able to survive.
Yeah, and
It was close though, wasn't it? Oh my goodness, look at that again.
Bro, if he
Oh,
wasn't
I'm
3k down, that would be a
Dude.
dead support.
Fi needed that, didn't he? He really needed that. If only he knew. That was, oh, that is so, that's a little bit unlucky. Unlucky Fi in this one. Oh, but it's just, I don't know. What a ridiculous clash of playstyles here in this game. Like, I'm not quite sure why, but both teams, as no one wants to concede anything on the map. They're permanently fighting, permanently going for these aggressive plays, and it makes a very entertaining League of Legends. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just not quite sure what the game plan is for these teams. Like, they're just endlessly kind of flipping it forward, and it could be risky. Speaking of,
Yeah, they've locked Nilly in place. He is cooked. Jimrius finds himself another shutdown. He is picking up so much gold at the moment, and that Silas is starting to get very scary.
yeah, Jinrace with the MVP material, honestly, kind of popping up everywhere on this Lissandra, on this Silas, just finding picks everywhere you go. He's super proactive and creative, and he always manages to win his lane. You could see he's already at 2 items, right, at 18 minutes. This is big, right? This is big. This is definitely a good shutdown onto Nilly as well in the side lane. You typically see this into Rumbles where they just get chain CC'd, right? And they just cannot move in. It's not like they're super tanky. They are super squishy despite those buffs to the shield. Now, how do they transition this into topside river? Rift Herald is spawning soon. That is a Baron. My mistake. It's not Rift Herald. We're way too late. I feel like there's been so much action that time is going by so quickly. So the next objective to be contested is probably going to be a dragon. Let's see how both teams prepare for
All
that.
right,
Yeah.
he has the cleanse. He has the cleanse. He's going to use it. Dodges away and everything. Knight has to flash away. Jimrius steals away Wendell's ultimate. Cleanse and ulti used there from Ragnar, but overall not the end of the world.
stun?
I say that! Chimera! Oh, my word! Verdant are melted! What a wombo from Fourth
Gooby?
Wall! But the turnaround's coming in from Gooby. Knock-up comes down. Taxa is going to get traded back onto us. Jimrius finds himself a kill. Misses out the chain lash. Gooby's got the slow to multiple members. He's starting to farm up kills. Fi finds an answer up, though, as Gooby is making the hero play happen. But Fourth Wall, they've done the damage. They've done the work. Triple kill for Jimrius and an absolutely colossal team fight.
there's been loads of scrapping and fighting in this game, but the first 5v5 goes over to the side of Fourth Wall. Perfectly played right there. The stolen Leona ulti locked down 3 members from Verdant, and from that you can just wombo combo alongside the Rel. It's crazy. We talked about the Rumble ult plus Rel combination, how Silas could use that. What about Leona Rel? That's something you never see on the same team. Insane. Lockdown for days. And Verdant coming out on the bad side of that one. But what a fight from 4-4.
Definitely want to highlight Chimera and his engage there. He manages to find the 3-man queue into like the 4-man ultimate, right? And the entire time, it doesn't look amazing, even still, because crucially, the engage misses Gooby. And Gooby just free hits on this Ashe all day long, but in the end, it still isn't enough, despite managing to flash the Rek'Sai engage. He actually ends up falling, and Fourth will take the first fight. Now, Dragon is up, Rift Herald is spawned. You can imagine that Fourth will actually going to give this, because they have to deal with that Rift Herald. You see, he's not having any of it. He's just going to recall and go prepare for the next one.
Yeah, it's only the second for Verdant, so it's not a major thing for Fourth Wall. They've burnt a lot in that previous fight. They just want to get back on and get as much gold as possible. And that Jace tax you were talking about, starting to get a little bit closer. Fight almost fully stacked his mirror mana, 2 items in. That fight injected a lot of gold into him, plus the 3 towers they've been able to collect in the last, I think it's about 4 minutes they've been able to pick up all those towers. So a lot of just kind of global gold getting injected in, as it does look like Verdant are looking for a fight here. They land the Ash Arrow, but a great escape there from Chimera. Solar Flare comes down onto the pillar. They've been slowly but surely toasted as 2 members fall, but the Feather's doing a lot of work. That slow zone just being a little bit too much, though. Verdant heavily chunked out. Are they going to think about Baron?
Yeah, it's happening again, isn't it? Every single game this comes down to. In the pre-show, I alluded to the fact that somehow Verdant manage every single time to do some kind of Baron dance, find a pick around Baron. They're so good at controlling vision around it and turn that into a Baron. And at this point, they're probably just going to do a repeat of yesterday where they snowball the game now and just siege and take absolutely everything in the face of 4th.
Well, going to stop a couple of recalls there. Fives being a nuisance while they try and shove in that mid wave. Try and slow down the use of the Baron as much as possible. If Fi lands another Q here, that is just sadness hours. Not going to happen. He's just going to go catch himself that wave topside.
And this is it, the first big advantage for Verdant in this game. They've had times where they've been just a little bit ahead in the lane phase, but nothing too significant. But now that they found those 2 kills plus Baron, you can just never write Verdant off. I think this is one of the reasons why they are the best team in the NLC. And also just this team comp in choke points, absolutely disgusting. You know, Leona ulti, Rumble ulti, Tax's pillar as well. It's impossible to navigate, and exactly as Aragon said, like if you're face checking into Fog of War against that, then you're really just screwed.
Well, they were thinking about jumping in for Verdant, but Verdant were very much aware that play was going to happen. And just back off and play safe. But look at you, sitting in this little cubby, using his passive to kind of sense the location of the Verdant members. While Fi's catching waves on that bot side, Nilly is going to be working this wave top side up. And it's going to be a little bit of a slow shove here from Verdant. I think they're very respectful to the damage and what's capable of coming out from 4th wall. Jimrius needs to be careful, though, because he can find himself a victim of a pillar, able to dash away to safety. You will be aware of who's in the area. I think the scary thing for 4th wall now is they're sieging into that Rumbelar. As they jump in with the Magnet Storm, there's that combo. There's the knock-up. Instant solar flare, but Gooby's down. Ragnar gets the damage onto Taxa. Taxa's cooked. Double kill for Jimrius. And Verdant, they just lose out hard.
Yeah, they completely stall out this siege. You could see that they did not expect Chimera to engage there because Wendell was over the wall channeling his Hex Flash and looking for his own engage. Suddenly, Chimera runs in there with 600 move speed and it's just layered on top of Gooby. And this is just the power, or rather the weakness, of not having any escapes in your kit. Gets that equalizer on his face with that Magnet Storm and there's just nothing he can do.
A lot of damage coming out from Nita W there.
Yeah, that is...
AB Kaiser, oh my word. Oh, Nita!
He's dead!
Oh.
He just assassinated him! A champion is not okay, but Nita might get himself assassinated in response. Instant flash out, Featherstorm comes down, Jimrius finds the kill, Ash Arrow goes wide, and 2 get traded back. 4th wall just keep getting away with these plays. I don't know what the hell is happening, but they're doing so good at finding a response play to a very good play from Verdant.
It just feels like whoever takes the first step in this game often is the one that gets burned. Not every single time. You know, Verdant did find that pick before that led them to the Baron, but especially in the early game and with that play you just saw there, like the response coming through from really either side whenever the other one wants to go for a proactive play, it's been really spot on. And it does mean this game has been really back and forth here. Great response there for 4th wall, not just turning over, lying down and dying. Instead, showing signs of life here, and there's a huge Silas now on the side of 4th wall. Jimrius, that 700 gold bounty, maxed that one out, almost at his 4th item. Honestly, and with the caliber of ultimates that he can steal, this guy's going to be an absolute menace in these team fights.
Yeah, and props to Chimera. Honestly, we kind of didn't mention his engages, and yes, he's playing well, but like, he's managing to pull off like 3 or 4 man ultimates every single time and set up his team for success. Yes, Jimrius is also doing something very similar, but yeah, Silent Hero and Chimera are doing really well.
He's doing a lot, he really is. Jimrius is going to be fishing with that Ashar. Looking for a good opportunity. Gooby is going to have to flash away. That's massive, but they were able to burn that. And Verdant are going to fire back. They're also going to miss that Ashar, but no summoner spells, just sidesteps coming in. 4th wall do not have the inside track on the river, though. That's the crucial thing here. Verdant control the Baron area.
You could see, like, as we alluded to in Champs League, you could see the range disadvantage coming in for the side of 4th wall now. You have range from Ashe and this Nita pick, right? And every single time it tags, it reduces the cooldown. So 4th wall, struggling though, gonna have to find this engage before they get poked out too much.
Yeah, they are looking for it. Wendell steps up somewhat, gets
Wendell?
himself caught, knocked up. They're going to get the damage off. The Dragon's already been caught, but that doesn't matter because down they go. They trade 1-for-1 globally. There's going to be a massive engage from Chimera on the back line. He's able to survive for a little bit longer, but a great red carpet is just toasting fourth wall. Ragnar and Jimrius, I don't think they've got enough in the tank here, trying to pull those feathers back, but Ragnar's down. That is all of the members but Jimrius down. Verdant have all the power they need as Jimrius desperately trying to escape.
It's just too much here for fourth wall. Verdant with the perfectly engaged team fight here, which actually kind of started again with the team of fourth wall looking for the proactive play and getting burned. Essentially trading Ute for Wendell there, which isn't really worth it. Wendell absorbs so much from fourth wall. And with Ute down, that's like actually a pretty big threat from the onto the back line. Just taken out of it. Yeah. So then Gooby and Nita can just kind of do what they want to do. A lot of those combinations throwing through in that team fight with the red carpet, which is just crazy in that choke point. It's just too much for fourth wall to deal with in these straight up team fights. You need to steal one of these high impact ultis for Silas if you want to contest in these fights, or maybe get a pick in a different way. And those straight up 5v5s, it's going to be really difficult for them to find the windows, and you saw it there.
I think the next fight's going to be super important as well. Yeah. I'm just having a quick look at the inventories. Ragnar now 3 items with a stopwatch in his inventory. Hasn't got the flash. That's pretty crucial, but does have that cleanse.
Yeah. I think a big problem in the last fight was not the layering of the Chimera ulti, which was on a flank with that equalizer. So looking forward, let's see how well they layer the spells as the arrow comes out.
Oh, but it's a great block and disengage there from Chimera. The red carpet goes down, but Chimera and Ragnar are able to just about limp away from that one. A lot burnt there from Verdant. And they don't get enough power to guarantee that Baron without contested.
Yeah, the Verdant staple Baron dance as they control this vision and force fourth wall to face check every single time. They just have no tools to do it yet. Kaiser poke.
Yeah, they're just going to look for that fight immediately onto Jimrius. He uses the stopwatch to block away on everything. They jump straight in onto Gooby. Gooby's toasted! What a magnetic storm! Ragnar can just run away with this fight! 1 by 1! Verdant fall to fourth wall! A triple kill onto Jimrius! He's going for the quadra as fourth wall will get the Baron!
Insane team fighting from fourth wall here. Absolutely beautiful stuff when you just thought that they were the ones getting caught out. It wasn't them, it was Verdant instead. Gooby positioned a little bit too far forward to try and get the fight onto Jinrace to knock him down. But a brilliant stopwatch buys him enough time for the rest of his team to come on through. And of course Chimera that we've been saying so many times, haven't we? What an engage from this guy, what a flank from this guy, what a play from this guy. But he does it again, locks down all of Verdant in that fight, and it's just that positioning, right? It's the brain power to press the stopwatch, and then also to go for the engage on the rail. Like honestly, this mid support duo has just been going absolutely mega for fourth wall.
Yeah, so now what are they going to do, right? It looks like they're committing to this 1-3-1, or rather 4-1. You can see Jace initially want to go top, and now he's going mid. How can they pull this off and respect not getting engaged on by that Leona Trundle?
Chimera's able to get over the wall, jump away to safety. It's a slower push again, just like when Verdant had that Baron. They are playing it pretty steady. There's a large wave starting to build up on the top side, so don't have to be worried about that. But Nilly has got the ignite, not the TP, so he's not under a real threat as they put the equalizer down. And Verdant just getting absolutely cooked by that one over the wall. Fire getting some damage. They do find a return though. Magnet Storm lands on multiple members. Everybody just flashes the wall, clears into the fight, and it's so messy. Immediately, Ute goes golden, trying to survive for as long as possible, but no, he's going to be getting himself taken down there by Nita. He's trying to finish up these last couple of players. Jinrius stealing away the Kaiser ultimate. Probably not the most active one for him to take.
Yeah, that was really weird, right? Because the fight started, everyone flashed in, but I don't know where Ragnar was. He just wasn't hitting. He was super far away, so I don't think he was in range to auto whilst all the CC was coming down. On top of the fact that Chimera, I don't think he initially managed to cast R before he got stunned whilst he dashed in. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see it again, but still. Yeah, messy stuff coming in from both sides. This is a real nail-biter. Now Dragon spawning, and it's going to be soul point for the side of Verdant. Fourth wall are going to make it in first to this objective. Let's see if they can have Verdant face check into them and find the engage.
Well, you know that fourth wall want to fight this. They've been winning the last few fights, and They're feeling very, very comfortable. They're going to
TP.
TP in to make sure they get control of the area. Big things to watch. Ragnar, very close to getting that flashback, has his ultimate and the cleanse for this fight. Stopwatch up available for Jimrius. No flash, crucially. A lot of the flashes were used in that previous engage. They all flash to clear into the wall. Question is are Verdant feeling comfortable to take this? Because Jimrius, remember, he's got the Kai'Sa ult. He doesn't have that Rumble ult, so they're losing a lot of power from that immediately. Yute's coming in, but Chimera jumps in. Jimrius uses the ulti on the backline, tries to finish up Wendell. Stopwatch comes down. What an equalizer, though, onto the backline. Ragnar's being toasted as they're trying to finish up, trying to shut down the crucial members. Dragon is secured, but the team is going to be forfeited. The flash comes up in the nick of time there for fourth wall. They've got Baron, so they can get back to base quick.
They're just pushing mid. They just decided, yeah, they're just going to barrel down mid and try and get as much as they can here. I don't know. These fights are just so back and forth. One time it's fourth wall, then it's Verdant, then it's fourth wall, then it's Verdant. And Verdant should be able to push down onto the inhibitor here. I don't think they can end the game, especially with this equalizer being slapped down, but I think you just got to concede this for now. So let this inhib fall and try not to lose too many more members. That's that would-be game, but yeah, Verdant's going to back away from this one. Fourth wall going to let it happen. That isn't sold just yet, though. Crucially, in that last team fight, it's worth noting that fourth wall did bring down the dragon. So no Chemtech soul just yet. The next dragon that spawns won't be Elder. It will be another Chemtech.
And every single good fight we've seen from the side of fourth wall here, right, has been layered with Chimera finding the Dream Engage, plus either the AoE of the Feathers from Xayah, or a Silas Rumble ult, right? We need to see that again if they want a chance. If Silas takes this Kai'Sa and tries to dive backline and puts all his DPS onto Leona again, onto Wendell, it's just not going to go well for them. This is their biggest combination. Every single time they haven't done that, they've lost the fights. As now, take a deep breath. I believe we're going to in for a little break here as they just invade the jungle right here. Taxa wants his camps, doesn't get them. Red buff denied and actually secured for Ragnar, which is going to be pretty big for these team fights.
I'm pretty sure they just want to get as much gold onto Ragnar. He's almost finished up his final item, or his next item. I believe that's going to be a Bloodthirster, maybe an Immortal Shield Bow if he wants that kind of survivability in the middle of the burst. But either way, he's looking to get towards that. Guardian Angel has been finished up onto Ute, which is pretty big because he's been jumping in and immediately getting popped. So his ability to now find a turnaround. Oh my god. Okay, fine. Ash Arrow does go a little bit wide. Ute's on the flank, they're coming in. Chimera's jumping in with him. Maggie Storm stolen away with the Ashar. Ute's able to finish up Gooby. Equalizer goes down. Ragnar throws out the Featherstorm. Tax is going to try and look to get onto him, but it's so hard to do so. The Feathers are everywhere. He can't pull them back, but they all flash forward. Feathers locking Taxa in place. A triple kill, though, onto Nita. He's keeping the pressure up. A quadra kill. Verdant, they may just have done this. Jimrius needing W after W as Verdant may just have found their opening, their opportunity back into this game.
Great start of the perfect Ash ult, though. Gooby dies instantly. But Gooby's not the only threat anymore. You've got Nitra as well. Quadra kill coming down from the Kai'Sa mid. Disgusting snipes and damage and all that burst from AP Kai'Sa. It's hideous stuff. And Verdant now should be in position to close this game out.
Chimera's up. They can equalize the wave just to chip through it as quick as possible. In comes Chimera. Jimrius locking people in place. Wave is cleared out. That's the crucial thing here. They're going in for the dive. That's going to be one assassinated immediately. Instantly found for the lockdown. They're trying to find the follow-up. Knight is going to go to the tower shots. Massive healing. Massive survivability. That's the triple quadra kill going over to Jimrius. Gooby.
No.
Don't give him the penta. I mean, give him the penta. That'll be hype. But
wait,
they're going to go for it.
End?
They've stolen away with Ashar. He's got it. He misses it. In jumps Fi. Jimrius needs to just get that dash forward. Finds the lockdown. There's the finish up. There's the takedown. Fi will fall. Jimrius,
take the tower.
too greedy, bro. But that actually could potentially be it. The death time is 20 seconds on. In comes the rest of the team. They don't have their Xayah, but they're going to try and push for the end here. Fourth wall. Can they deny Verdant the final game of the split for them? They're looking to go for the win. The towers are going to go down. The nexus has been left empty, and there it is. Fourth wall. Take out Verdant.
What did we just witness? Right from the get-go, that game was absurd. It was ridiculous. It was just scrappy, fighting, sloppy stuff. And then we started getting into the team fights, and it was back and forth there as well. And then right at the end of the game, I was like, yeah, Verdant just going to look to push and close and end the game. Don't quite do that, and what do they do instead? Lose the game. I cannot believe how back and forth that game was, and credit to Forthful, that was absolutely banging.
Yeah, guys, can I give a little update here? I've just received DMs from Chimera, right? And it's my entire Discord page is filled with XDs. I think that summarizes the entirety of that game. What a banger!
Holy moly! I mean, it's kind of crazy, guys, right? Like, I'm just watching that game. I'm watching it from like just sat there, like, okay, now it's going into this favor, now I go into that favor, and then I was like, I just like write game gets closed out by Knight or Quadra is what I have in my notes. Well, no, it was closed out by the Jinrei's Quadra instead, right? Like, I don't know.
Just put the names out and your notes are fine.
Yeah.
That honestly, can we just give like Verdant a massive pat on the back for giving us like the 2 best games of the last 2 days?
Yeah.
Like their game versus Domino is insanely hype, and now this game versus 4-4 is insanely hype. I'm sure they're going to be upset for that loss, and that's, you know, not a loss you want to end on. Regardless, they are first. That is big for 4-4. That does mean that they are in with a chance of dodging that relegations, and that is one hell of a team to beat. I will now have to be a little critical of Verdant. They have looked weak versus both Domino and 4-4. We're going into playoffs. I mean, we're going into playoffs, and they do not look on form at the moment, so they've got some time, but they really need to get it together quick. Otherwise, I might have some concerns here for the side of Verdant going forwards.
Yeah, I mean, just what a banger game. I was going to talk about how, you know, Xayah just couldn't hit because the Rumble Ult would drop on her every single time and she was outranged, and it just, none of it matters in the end. I think this does highlight some of the weaknesses of the pick. Specifically, I wanted to highlight this before, was Ashe. I think Ashe is really overblown. I think Ashe currently has a couple of pairings in that Rel and Milio, but because of like move speed and peel, but just an Ashe on her own, you see she just gets blown up at the start of every single fight if there's any kind of engage.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think I was getting told they was being asked what the MVP is. I think it's Jinrei's. I don't think anybody
It
can
could be him or
really...
Chimera.
I just feel Jinrei's was just too cracked this game. Like Chimera was playing great, but like Jinrei's picked Silas, and that pick denied the Rumble Rel because they had the Rel, and then they got the Rumble Rel off the back of it, and he just played super crisp. It's Jinrei's without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
All right, I'll ask Chimera like I did yesterday with Mr. Spin the Block, who should be getting the MVP vote. So let's get let's get Chimera on the line here. So we started the season with a pretty somber interview. I guess we're closing the season with a pretty happy one, Chimera.
Yeah, I mean, at least we ended on a win. I heard Hitbrain there saying that Ginrei's gets the MVP. No. That's my MVP. I deserve that one. Nah, I'm joking. Ginrei's played really well. But yeah, at least we got a win in the end, so happy with that. But it's just been a long, hard split. A lot of issues that haven't been able to be resolved. So at least we could end on a win and take down Verdant. A lot of respect for the players and the org, so happy I was able to do that.
Absolutely fantastic. I want to hear something because like this Rel champion does not seem balanced. I asked PlayStation kind of the same thing in a pre-show interview today. Like, what are your thoughts on like Rel? Is she just like meta warping in the meta, or like what's the situation here?
I think part of it is you're able to flex Rel to 2 different lanes, which gives you a lot of mobility in draft. But also, just as a blind in bot lane, a lot of her traditional counters before, such as like Alistar, aren't as oppressive just now because you can always start engages with Q Flash, which kind of negates the reactions to, you know, blocked combo. But I think it's got so much damage, it's got so much CC in the kit, the cooldowns are so low, your ability to engage, especially with Flash, are ridiculous. Like, you saw this game, we don't really have a lot of ability to engage, so we basically just like, whenever we have Flash, we look to the trigger. Also, it's quite fortunate we had the Chemtech plants, because I was able to jump like from one end of the screen to Narnia and get in and do some flanks.
Yeah, it was crazy to watch. Like, I was going to be the next question for you. Actually, was to like, what, like you get like some of the most crazy flanks in this game and get some insane engagements. I'm like you're like 3 screens away from your teammates and stuff at time, but you still get these fights to kind of go your way. Like that was like insane to watch.
Yeah, I mean it was a fun game to play for sure. Like, I'm sure from a spectator point of view, it was like 60 kills or something in that game. So there's a lot of action. I think
70 actually at the end.
70, yeah. Well, there's a lot of just fighting, and I don't know what that means in terms of Verdant standings. I think they've locked in first already, so I'm sure they're having fun with it as well. But like, so are we. So yeah, it was just a fun game to play. I'm happy to end on the win.
And before I let you go, for most likely the last time after the season, do you have anything you want to say to the people?
I mean, thanks for everyone watching, just NLC in general. I know the region gets a lot of slack and there's been a lot of issues, but it's always a pleasure to play in your home region. I'm pretty sad that we aren't able to make playoffs. I think, again, like, there's just too many changes, roster changes, internal issues, like all this for us to really make a dent, but I'm glad we're able to end on a high. So yeah, thank you for watching, and everyone who comes and watches me, it's greatly appreciated.
Thank you so much for your time as well here, and congratulations on a great way to close out the season.
Appreciate it, thank you.
So, here, Brain, you get the... Chimera says he's the MVP.
It was honestly, it's a very hard one to kind of really distinguish between the two of them. I think Chimera played unbelievably well. Like his engages that game were decisive of a lot of those team fights, but I feel Jimrius also was very decisive in a lot of those team fights at the same time, and he's not playing a meta champion like Rel. Like Rel is straight up busted at the moment. Silas, as much as that champion annoys me, isn't actually busted at the moment. And Jimrius made it look busted. He just was so efficient on that champ. Like he was the hero for that game because Top was giga doomed. Top was super doomed, man. And like it didn't matter. It didn't matter. Jimrius just got like crazy fed. I also think Ragnar deserves an honorable mention as well. Like I think he played super good on that Xayah. Like he played a very defensive game on the Xayah, staying alive. But yeah, absolutely clutch.
Yeah, I think you got to pay a bit of rel tax when you're discussing MVP because I don't know, it's so busted, you know, it's so busted. And yeah, you can get some really good engages and stuff off, but it's rel. You know,
it's rel.
You kind of close your eyes and do that. So,
I mean, that's the thing. Like, that's like kind of what I've been asking. As we have a pre-tape interview that we're going to be shown with Unique before that game, but with PlayStation, I was like, I talk about rel because the champion seems to be kind of like a little bit out there, Aragon. I know you've been talking a lot about this champion over the past few days here, but I kind of want to go back into the top lane, right? Because Fi is forced to start E, I believe, because of an invade that is just down like infinite gold, and then all of this, and somehow he's still useful. Kind of like take us through Fi's wild ride.
Look, I'm gonna be real with you. I forgot Jace was in the game. I completely forgot Jace was in the game. I mean, Fi, you know, he came back eventually with items, but you had 20 CS at 7 minutes. The man was frozen on for 5 minutes by Nilly. I think Nilly completely gapped him, and it was Fi's choice to commit his flash and, you know, in that skirmish around blue buff. So, did he do much? I can't be, you know, sincere and say he did, unfortunately.
Also had to TP to his own tower, which would be like one of the most like if you have like one of those like out of context League of Legends Twitter accounts, like your top laner TPing to their own tower right there.
that was a quality TP.
That's like one of those most.
I also think we're cutting him a little short. He did some stuff in that fight. He put his E down and gave movement speed to his team. That was about it. That was as much as that Jace really offered, but it didn't matter. It just straight up didn't matter. Like Jimrius and Chimera just like 2v9 to that game super hard.
Yeah.
So it boils down to top lane not mattering again. Who could have thunk it? Oh my god.
It's the same. It's just top gap, mate. It's just top gap.
It's a relevant role. It's a really relevant role, honestly. Top lane means so much to the meta right
I mean,
now.
it's super relevant when your opponent's Silas can take your top lane or Rumble's ult and use it against you. Then the role becomes relevant. See?
Yeah, in a way, it actually feels like Verdant kind of sealed their own doom with that Rumble pick. Obviously, you want to deny the Rumble, but the fact that like the Silas was just there as a pick, I think that was really big brain. It felt to me like Fourth Wall were ready for that trade. They wanted the rail. They knew the Rumble was going to get picked to deny, and they were like, we'll just have the Silas, and we'll be ready to steal that one away. It felt like Verdant didn't have a good read on that. That draft was really intelligent from Verdant. From Fourth Wall. Verdant, I think they drafted how you would have drafted in that situation, but I don't think they were prepared for that Silas pick to come out. And even though he had a rough laning phase because he was just a melee versus range, and the Kai'Sa poke is abysmal at the moment with that AP Kai'Sa, it just straight up didn't matter. It really didn't matter. It was absolutely huge stuff coming in from Jimrius, and Fourth Wall king draft that was.
I just want to highlight like Nita played really well. Like Nita played extremely well. He kept one-shotting, assassinating people, and all his poke connected. So, whilst unfortunately Verdant lost, I think if Verdant did win, I would have given my MVP to Nita. He played extremely well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that like I had like he made like one relatively big mistake, I would say, right now, where like, he goes for the assassination, I think, on one of the 4-4 players, and they just like counter engaging him, but that can happen. But before, guys, we get too stuck in with this game, we do have more games coming the way of the people, so we are going to go to a short break. When we come back, we'll have even more action from the NLC.